Okay, so we sat here last week and we were on a research question.
Okay.
So we rewrote pretty much, or we collaborated, but I still don't know if this is. My fear is when we start writing this, I don't want it to be broad, and I really want to make sure that we're narrowing it down. And this word probably shouldn't be in there.
Well, let's see. I want to go back to your problem. Be careful here. They're making some allegations that you can't support in the literature.
Sure, that's just kind of a biased opinion. Okay.
It's got a little bias here. You're implemented. Okay, I like that. The educational system is a place for education. So where are we going with this?
Well, we're still in the process of figuring that out. We're getting articles and stuff. But I think in our past research, we've had tendencies where we've been more broad than more narrow. And I don't
The purpose of this review is to examine racial disparity caused by exclusion. Okay, you can't do both.
Okay.
What do we mean by exclusion? Just expulsion?
Suspension, or expulsion, or in school. I mean, right? Just eliminating them from that.
Yeah, exclusion. Well, either one.
Yeah, what are you finding in the literature? What's supporting your lit? What kind of lit support have you got?
Well, I don't know.
I'm not sure we have enough support. It's not well published yet.
True.
We're seeing some things on zero tolerance.
Yeah, and a lot of it's new publications, so it's just kind of.
That doesn't mean it's bad.
No, that means it's kind of really just.
It means it's relevant.
Yes.
In a case like that, this may morph. You may end up with a different research question after you've been through the literature.
That's kind of what I thought, and I may have multiple research questions.
I would really suggest that you keep it minimal.
Okay.
Because figure for every research question, it's going to be 5 to 10 more pages of narrative.
Okay, we're going to keep it minimal.
Okay, but what's the most important question to ask here that we could actually find some...
I think what's driving me on my research is what are some effective strategies to use in place of the zero tolerance policy.
Okay, so if that's your question, you're going to have to focus your introduction. Now you've justified pretty well, you've got a rationale for not using zero tolerance policy. You've talked about the ethnic bias, you've talked about the criminal justice system. It's a pipeline.
Yes.
Okay, so now you have to build into your introduction. What are the alternatives? So you need some background on alternatives.
Mm-hmm.
Now this could be a 20-year-long study. Alternatives, I can't spell. Because you're going to have to provide a balance here. Because you're telling me you want to find alternative methods, but you haven't talked anything about it in your introduction.
Okay.
Okay, so do we have a theoretical framework here?
No, not yet.
Where did it start?
Where did zero
tolerance start?
Started, well, we talked about it started on the war on drugs to kind of police the war on drugs.
So there really is no...
But then it started in the 80s.
It did. So there really is no theoretical framework here.
Yeah.
Other than, if we look at, these kids are not only dropouts, they're forced outs.
Yeah.
Okay, we know, we can go back to the theoretical literature on what dropouts, what's going to happen with dropouts, what are the likely things to happen with dropouts. How does the forced out position relate to the dropped out position?
Okay.
And then, you know, if you can make a case that that's where your theoretical framework can build in, because we have a lot of theoretical stuff happening around dropout kids. These are not dropouts, these are forced outs. So that pulls, because this is your justification here. and because you want to focus on alternatives, that gives you the justification to look at, because these kids are forced out. And rightfully or wrongfully so, the zero tolerance policy is forcing them into a dropout position.
Yeah.
And now you make a good case for looking at alternative strategies. Does that focus it for you?
Yes. I do. Yes.
And
what do you think about you, Vaughn? Linda, you missed a
good
few.
topic. Yeah.
I just could see myself really going really broad with this, and I want to make sure I get it right.
I think you can build a case that this is what happens to dropouts. We know theoretically, whoever's doing the dropout research, you do not need a conceptual framework here. But you might say, based on the work by some blah, 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 we can suspect that this is going to happen for dropout kids. It's not going to be different when they're forced out. If they're forced out, they're more likely to enter the prison pipeline.
Dropout force outs still in the realm of minorities.
Oh yeah,
They're going to be the higher percentage of these forced out students.
that's exactly right. And so the research that's been done predicts this. And so get an article that you really like that gives you a solid feel for it. Use that one as your theoretical framework, based on the research by.
And focusing on dropouts.
Yeah.
That will help us. Okay.
Because they're going to have the same issues, but forced outs are going to be higher in an ethnic focus.
Yes.
Because dropouts can be pan-ethnic, but we know that the zero tolerance policy is really forcing minorities out.
So we're going to X this research question because it's not.
Well, you said you wanted to know alternative strategies, but that opens the door
to
for you to ask. So when you write your full justification in, that it's important to look for alternative strategies, because these people have no social and human capital in the workplace.
Sure.
They have none. And you can argue it from a human capital perspective. Zero tolerance is depriving them of basic human capital.
That what you just said, would that work for our actual?
It might.
If we're trying to go about this, if we're trying to work on
If you're
that.
looking for dropouts, because how often do they get jobs? They don't have the human capital for the employment world. They don't have the hard skills. They don't have the job skills. They don't have any marketable skills. They don't have the social skills. They don't have the soft skills.
Okay.
These are throwaway kids.
Yeah.
So these would be
Yep. These are a throwaway generation.
Okay. Thank you very much.
No worries. I like your topic a lot.
It got really
Are you guys
normal,
back again?
like the last